Appreciate you back.
Greetings and welcome to the Art of Rising. You know that we're all about rising your vibration, your health, your wealth, and your mindset. So I'm always on the lookout for great guests. I know I found another one right here, man. I know you're going to love this one. Stay tuned. And also, we're having a men's retreat coming up in May 23rd, 24th, 25th. If you stay to the end, we're going to help you out with that. So just stick around. So greetings, brother. Welcome to the show. Thank you.
Omziel, thank you so much for having me.
Thank
I am
you.
excited
Thank you.
to chat.
Of course, brother. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're living and what are you doing with yourself these days?
So my name is Kevin Palmieri. I live in New Hampshire, and I am the host and the founder of Next Level University. We are a global top 100 podcast with 2,050 something episodes and listeners in 175 plus countries. And this is what I get to do now. I get to speak into a microphone and impact a lot of people, and it's very humbling because that truly was a dream come true for me. So I'm living the dream, but the dream does have nightmares, and I want to make sure that's abundantly clear.
Right, exactly. I love it. I love it. I was looking at your bio and some of the things that you've accomplished, and it's quite impressive.
Thank you.
And someone might be intimidated by that, but not me, brother.
I am just a regular dude who somehow hopped on the right train at the right time.
Exactly.
So
Yep, that's it. That's it. Yeah. And you're out to show people like the map, like, hey, switch on the number 4 train and then get the 3, go downstairs and, get on the, yeah. So
that's the goal. I want to guide. I want to be the type of person that I needed. That's really what I aspire to. That's why I try to show up with energy and be a good time and have fun and make people laugh. That's really the goal for me.
You can't be the best, or you can't be great. You can't be the greatest unless you help someone be great.
Yes.
That's how you become great.
100%.
That's right.
100%.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, growing up? How was it like, and how did you come to be in this holistic lifestyle that you decided one day?
I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. Didn't know my dad. Didn't meet my dad with the understanding that he was my father until I was 27. Happy to dive into that when we get to that point in the story, for sure. Lower middle class, didn't have a lot of money. I remember hearing often the struggles to pay rent. Like, that was a pretty common thing. Outside of that, though, strangely enough, my childhood was pretty normal. I would ride my bike with my friends. I would go outside. I'd play in the woods. Like, I did all the normal kid stuff. When things really started to get interesting was in high school, because I decided pretty early on that I didn't want to go to college. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I can't imagine I'm going to pay somebody $25,000 a year to help me find out. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I started training to fight mixed martial arts professionally. That was what I started in high school. Then I worked at a gas station. Then I worked at a hospital cleaning bathrooms and floors overnight. Then I was a forklift operator, truck driver, tiling, contractor, on-call firefighter for a very short amount of time, all over the place. Eventually, luckily enough, I got a job in an industry called weatherization. So we would go into large buildings, and it was our job to make the buildings more energy efficient. Went from making $15 an hour as working on construction sites to $50 an hour doing this new job. And Omziel, I was convinced I just found my thing. Here we go. I didn't go to college. I'm making more money than anybody I know. This is it. Whatever happened was supposed to happen. If you fast forward a few years, when I was 25 or 26, my girlfriend at the time was a model. I was getting ready to compete in a bodybuilding show, so I was quite literally in the best shape I will ever be. Sports car, the job I talked about, new apartment, money, friends, all this stuff. Internally, I was miserable, though. Externally, you would never know it because I didn't want you to, but internally, I was unfulfilled. I was unconsciously living. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was insecure. I was all of those things. Girlfriend ends up leaving because I was just a shell of a man. When she left, that was my initial rock bottom. Work got slow. My bills just doubled. I'm heartbroken. I have an eating disorder from my bodybuilding show. I am riding the struggle bus. But I convinced myself that the answer to this problem is not inner work. It's external results. So I need to make way more money. That will fix all these problems. I just haven't made the right amount yet. That's the problem. So I proceeded to grind for the next year and just work a ton. I got a promotion. It was this whole thing. I got to the end of the year and ended up making $100,000 at 26 with no college degree. But I remember when I opened my final pay stub, I remember thinking to myself, I don't know why I thought this was going to fix all my problems. I don't know why I don't understand myself. For most of my life, I have lived unconsciously. The opposite of unconscious is hyperconscious. So I did what any young man would do, Omziel. I started a podcast called the Hyperconscious Podcast. That's where all this started for me. I want to be hyperconscious because for most of my life, I've been unconscious. Fell in love with podcasting, as you can tell. I just fell in love with it. And as I was falling in love with podcasting, I started to loathe my job. I could not stand it. I wanted to make money. I made enough money to realize that that was not the key to the doors I was trying to open. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. But I still had to work because I had to pay my bills. So things got worse. My mental health got worse. I was traveling a ton for work. It was impossible to hold down a relationship. I was never home. So I start calling out of work. I start leaving the job sites early. I start showing up late. And eventually, I found out that rock bottom has a basement. I talked about how I hit rock bottom earlier. There is a basement if you keep digging, unfortunately. So at the time, I lived in New Hampshire. I was actually in New Jersey getting ready for work one day because we had a lot of jobs in New Jersey. I worked a lot in New Jersey. Alarm clock went off at 5:15, sat up, slid to the edge of the bed. I was lacing up my work boots as I had done 1,000 times before. That morning, it was different. There felt like there was a television on in my head, and every single station was on a different channel. Right? There was 10 televisions going on, and everyone was on a different channel. And one was saying, I know you don't like this job, but you're stuck here forever. You got lucky. You didn't go to college. You shouldn't even be here. So the fact that you got this means you're never going to find anything better. If you ever left, what would your friends say? If you ever left, what would your family say? And the loudest one was, do you really think you're going to do this podcast thing? I mean, that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave here. We're going to leave a 6-figure job and start going full-time into podcasting. There's no way. And it was in that moment where I thought to myself, well, if I was just to take my life, I would take all my problems with me. I wouldn't have to worry about this. I wouldn't have to get any better. It would just kind of work itself out. That was my rock bottom basement moment. Now, luckily, and then this is a theme in my life, I'm very blessed to have positive people in my life. I'm very, very blessed, very privileged. I reached out to one of those really good people. And I said, hey, man, I'm really struggling. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. He gave me a lot of really good advice. He helped me paint a new perspective, paint a new picture. And I decided not to go through with the thoughts that I had that day. Ended up partnering up with him. So he's now the co-host of the podcast and my business partner. And I ended up leaving that job 2 or 3 months later. And then I became a full-time podcaster who was very broke trying to figure out the ropes of this. But I fell in love. I fell in love with doing this. I fell in love with talking into the mic. I fell in love with getting better. I think I realized at a very deep level that most people don't ever really get to live their dreams. And I do. I am in pajamas. You can see I have a nicer shirt, but I'm wearing
don't stand up, right?
Right? I'm wearing T-Rex pajamas right now. Like this is the dream for me. So I've been doing this full time since 2018, and now we do an episode every day, and we have a bunch of clients, and we're a quote unquote successful business, and it's been a really strange journey, to say the least. How we've done here.
And how about that? Thank you for sharing that, brother. That's quite deep, man, quite deep. And how about the physical activity of it? Because you're saying that you were training and competing, right? Competing, and now you're doing this other thing. And I caught you on the Instagram, as you can see. I reposted some of your stuff, man. It's powerful, I appreciate it. But I can see that you happen to value the physical challenges quite heavily. So how does that influence or has and continue influencing your life?
I think for me, bodybuilding, fitness, weightlifting, weightlifting for me is the jam. I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go for a swim. I want to go in the gym and I want to lift heavy weight. That's what I like doing. I think it is directly correlated to my self-esteem. Now, this is a fine line, but when I am in, it's not even when I'm in better shape, it's when I'm putting in the effort to improve physically, I'm way more fulfilled. It's not about the abs, it's about the process. Like, I'm committed to it, tracking my food, hitting the gym. I feel like I'm really making progress towards something. I'm super fulfilled. That's one. Second thing is, it is the best thing for my mental health ever of all time, as long as I do it right. So it has been a pillar of everything. It's one of the things we talk about: health, wealth, and love. Health is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's not just being in the gym. There's a bunch of other things, but that's a big piece. And then I think maybe the third thing is, I think it's helped me build grit. I think it's helped me build resilience. And I think it's helped me build work ethic. We work long, hard hours building a company, building a business, but all things considered, the workout I had this morning is most likely going to be harder than anything I do today.
Right.
There's something about getting out there, getting moving in the morning. So yeah, it's a pillar. I am not the same version of me if I'm not exercising.
So you feel that like it tends to permeate into your financial success, into your mindset.
Yeah, it's a principle. It's a way of showing up, right? That's part of me going and getting after it. It's part of me saying I'm going to do something and then going and doing it. And yeah, I think it helps my state. I'm just way more capable of receiving and responding to feedback when I've already checked the box for the day. There's something about that. And I think the other thing too that I've learned over especially the last couple of years, what often happens to me, Omziel, is I'll get to the place where things are doing really well in business. Maybe things are doing really well financially. Then I forget that the reason things are doing really well is because of my own self-improvement, my own personal development. So I'll find myself waking up in the morning and then going and working for clients as opposed to going and doing my thing. And to your point, you can't permeate personal development if you're not practicing it.
Right.
And I'm guilty of that. Not a ton, but like in micro times, I have a time where it's like, I haven't read a book in 3 days. Like, what the hell am I doing here? So I'm gonna catch myself.
Right. That often happens to me too, because for me, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no negotiation about that. I'm not going to skip that. We might push it up a little bit, to 5 or so, but, I'm up. Why? Because that's my time. I'm able to do what is it that I want to do. And then it seeps into other parts of my life, to my creativity, my mental clarity, my spirituality. Or how is it that I'm showing up in the world and treating other people too, in a community, and then there's people looking too. They're like, hey, what is this guy doing? Oh, he ain't doing nothing.
Well, we got to take care of us. I think it's the old airplane adage. If the masks fall out of the ceiling of the airplane, you have to put it on yourself first. And I know it's cliche, but it's really easy to focus on all the fires that are going on around you, instead of focusing on, building up yourself or whatever it is, developing your skills, working on your mental health. It's the squeaky wheel gets the grease, is what people say.
Thank you.
Oftentimes, we're not the squeaky wheel. There's other things that are squeaky. So yeah, you got to treat yourself like the squeaky wheel sometimes.
Yeah. So when I'm up at 4, like I put my shoes on, my sneakers, and I put on my gear, and then I'm out the door and I run. I run for about an hour and a half. But it's all mental. Like, why do I do it? I could lose some weight in some areas, but I was tipping the scale at about 220 at one time. And that was the last time I stopped weighing myself. Right. You see, because then we stay away from the scale, but I needed a huge change. And then I ended up homeless, and I was on a bad road. I was like a train wreck. Walking, I was destroying all my finances, the people around me, my living situation, my health, and all of that. But once I started to get some clarity and get things off of me, I was like, wow, I didn't even know if I was carrying that around. I didn't know. I'm not going to treat people like that. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm not going to eat that no more. But now I just seem to be at this point where I'm up no matter what. Like, and the mind starts messing with me, always. Sometimes more than others. Sometimes it's quiet. I don't know. But then sometimes it's like, wow, man, really on me. But those are the best runs that I have. Like, I get out there, man, and I've accomplished quite a bit, So
Yeah.
maybe you could tell me a little bit about, first of all, how and why did you start doing this, lifting weights and paying attention to your body, Yeah.
Because I was 5'3" and smaller than everybody else, and I knew I wasn't going to grow any taller. That was pretty. I mean, it started from an ego place. It started from I feel insignificant. The people in movies that are the most significant are usually the biggest. Like, I grew up loving Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I remember watching those movies when I was younger. I want to look like that. I was a huge fan of professional wrestling. I want to look like that. That was a really big piece of it for me. That was one. The other thing was I just really enjoyed it. Do I want to go to the gym every day? No. I didn't want to go this morning. But there are days where I'm fighting the battle of I really should get more sleep, but I really do want to go work out. So I love it. I love the gym. I love the grind. I love sweating. I love it. I just love it. I think that's it. I fell in love with it. And it happened to be something that I was pretty good at. It connected nicely with the fact that I wanted to be a professional fighter. I want to be strong. I want to be capable. And I take pride in having a strong, capable body. Not for anybody else, not for Instagram, not for Facebook, not for that. But I don't want to be the guy who can't pick something up around the house. I don't want to be the guy who has to call for help. Like, I want to be able to do it. I want to be self-sufficient. That's very important to me. So, I think it started like a lot of things do, from a place of ego. And then eventually it was like, okay, there's a lot of other benefits here. Discipline, consistency. I think one of the reasons I'm so consistent is because I've been consistently exercising for so long. And that's one of those things where if you want to see results when it comes to exercising, you kind of have to do it consistently. I don't know if there's a better real world example of effort in, results out, other than fitness. I mean, that's one of the best for sure.
Yeah. For me too. Like, it helps me in many other areas. Yeah, of course I want to look good. I want to take off my shirt. I want to go to the beach, and but then after that, it's empty. It's empty.
Yeah, it's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough of a reason, because, okay, what happens when you get to the goal? Then you stop. Right. You stop chasing the goal or whatever it is.
Now what?
Now what? Yeah, it's. Is that important? Yes. Do I like to look good? Yes. If that's the only reason I'm doing this, though, it's not. It's not the same. It's not going to work the same way. To your point.
Right. Of course. For me, I have 2 young kids in the house, and we go to the playgrounds. Go to park, and I'll tell you right now, 9 out of 10 parents are sitting on the side with their phone. And they're just missing the action. And I'm there, and kids are looking at me like, what is this guy doing on the monkey bars? I'm enjoying it, man. I'm running it, For me, I had started doing the Spartan franchise, and that's how I wanted something more, and I bought my ticket. I went to the first one. I was like, man, I could do this. I go to the gym, man. I'm all right, Oh, it was something different, bro. I was going up the mountains. I was screaming out loud. And people were like, hey, you all right? They gave me gels. They gave me gummies. They gave me all kinds of things. Then I said, wait a minute. I have to start training my body. I have to get into that mode of training. Yeah. And now I have almost close to 20 medals that they've given me, so nice. It's a great accomplishment, man. My kids are watching me too, and those type of things. But that's a non-negotiable. No matter what happens, no matter how much money I have or don't have, or how's my relationships going or whatever, or the house is clean or not clean. I got to wash the clothes. No, F that. I'm on it, bro, for real.
It's a principle. Right? That is a principle. A principle is I will work on my body, I will work on my mind, I will work on my soul, and everything that I do after that should proliferate a little bit more. I think that's a good principle.
Mm. And how about some of your daily rituals? Let's hear about that. Like when
Oh
you get up
man.
in the morning, how does that look?
I'm very similar to you, where I pretty much do the same thing every day. So I get up at 6. I go out into the living room, then I go in the kitchen. I put my AirPods in, and I'm usually listening to some level of a book while I make my pre-workout and I do my shake and all that stuff. Drink that, go to the gym, and then yeah, I weight train pretty much every day first thing. Like that's for me, let me get that out of the way. One, because I love it. Two, because if I don't do it first thing, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Let's be very humble and
Right,
very honest
right.
in the fact that if I don't do
Yep.
it, it ain't going to happen.
Right.
So
right.
that, I come home, I usually get home at like 8, shower, and then I'm pretty much in the office from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. Saturday, I usually work like a half day. I get up, I go to the gym, and then I usually work till like noon, and then Sunday's family day. So Sunday, I'll get up, I'll go lift, and then I'll come in the office for like 15 minutes to make sure nothing's burning down, and then my wife and I spend the day together. But my day is just not very sexy. I don't have like I don't do a cold plunge. I don't have any red light therapy. I'm not doing any hanging up upside down or any of that. It's pretty much serve myself in the morning, serve from place of impact in business most of the day. And then when I finish, however much time I have before 9:30 or 10, my wife and I spend together. We might have dinner together or whatever it is. But yeah, it's not very sexy. My life is not, it's not very sexy. Nobody's going to be following me around with a camera anytime soon.
Right. If they did, it would be like a lot of cutting floor images and stuff like that.
It's just Groundhog Day. It's like, it's just the same thing. But
right.
I'm a very simple man who requires very little difference. Like I don't need a lot of fun, unique experiences. I don't need a lot of variety. I eat the same thing pretty much every day. Like I just like to wake up and go and let me just do my thing. I'm simple in that.
Yeah, consistency is so important, But I also learned that you could be consistently lazy too.
Yeah.
You could be consistently doing nothing, and you could consistently fail and consistently enjoy failing and staying down there, But you can consistently rise up no matter what. Like you get, life is like that, as you already know, Kevin, you get kicked in the teeth by the steel toes,
Many times.
Many times, bro. I mean, people are not going to like you. They're going to talk about you. They're like, oh my God, that she's not going to want you, or that thing that, project didn't fell apart and stuff like that. But you just keep going, man, no matter what.
You got to. We did an episode yesterday and we were talking about, I think it's probably very easy to see me today and think I'm very confident, and I've always been confident. And that is not at all correct. I'm the most confident I've ever been, but I still have a ton of limiting beliefs and self-doubt. It just doesn't show through. But Alan asked me, he said, what are some of the things that made the biggest difference? And I said, just rebuilding my relationship with failure. And understanding that, yes, failure is not fun, and rejection is not fun, and feedback often sucks. Like that's all understandable. But you have to start very, very, very small. You go chase a failure that's just a micro failure, and you'll realize, oh, you know what? It's not that bad. Not that bad. Not the end of the world. Not what I expected. The monster in the closet ends up being a sock that has a light behind it that casts a much larger shadow. That is maybe the best advice I can give to anybody in the beginning. So I started in 2018, I started by tracking 5 habits. So every day I had this little notepad. I would track 5 habits every day. And one of those habits was number of fears chased. I would intentionally go out of my way to say, okay, what is something I can do today that scares me a little bit, but I'll feel better after I did it? That is by far one of the best habits I have ever practiced, because it showed me that so much of what I was afraid of was just highly emotional and not logical at all. So if you're feeling right now, well, Kev, easy for you to say, I understand 1,000%. Whatever fear you think I'm talking about, make it smaller. Just make it much smaller. Even if you made it smaller and it seems too big, cut it in half again.
Right.
Keep going until you say, okay, I could probably, even if it went horribly wrong, I could do that and then get back up. That's where we start. Don't start where I start. Don't start where Omziel starts. You start where you start. Don't make it a competition. It's not about that.
Right. Right. Yeah. For me, it's about doing that thing that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to get up at 4:00 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like my body just automatically now is just gets up. Like it's 3:50, it's 3:45. Like I better stay up anyway, and just do my thing, my workout, whatever it is. I do breath work also. But it's some of these things that they suck and I don't want to do them. One of the staples here at Omziel is the breath work with the ice plunge. And we go out to different places, and we're going out now into Brooklyn, a place called Nicholas, Brooklyn. They're very conscious, and they're open to this healing modality or this practice, personal practice. And we go to CrossFit gyms, and we've done UFC gyms, all kinds of things. But it's just the fact that it sucks. It hurts. Yeah, people be like, "What? Come on, it's cold outside." Nah, let's wait till July. I'm like, that's the point of it, is that it is January 20th. It's freezing outside. That's why we're going to do it. We're not going to be there all day. It's just like the runs. Like I just get my run in, man, and that's it. I'm done. It's over with, man. So
I was creeping. I saw you doing the ice baths. I was creeping on your website. I checked you out too,
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You got to see some of them like during the wintertime, because we have this big tub. We call her Mustang, and it's one of those tanks that you would find on a farm, right? They're solid plastic, and fill it with a lot of water with a lot of ice. But during the wintertime, we just do the water and then we leave it overnight. The next day I'm there with the sledgehammer, man. You scroll down, it's just crazy. Yeah. And people loving that. Oh, you crazy, you do this. And no, I'm crazy like a fox. You see what I'm saying? Because it pushes people into the present moment. That's what that does, right? It does lots of things, but that one, we spend so much time in the past. Oh man, what they did to me, I'm so hurt. Or the future, when I see that guy, I'm gonna tell him. None of those two are really, really true, because they're really perspective. And then the future is like, you don't really know it never happens like that.
Never. Your expectations are almost never correct.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
We go to a new restaurant. I'm like, let me imagine what it's going to be. It's never what I think it's going to be.
No.
It couldn't be. I guess it could be, but
that's why it's the present moment. That's where the magic is.
100%.
And that's what the ice water does. It's a great practice, or anything that sucks. It's just the fact that you're here. It's like lifting the weights. You're lifting that heavy weight. You're not thinking about, when I get home, I gotta wash the clothes. It'll fall on your head.
Yeah, it's
something like that, bro.
Yeah,
no, you can't. It's dangerous. You have to be right there in the present moment. What am I doing right now?
Same with this type of stuff. I think that's one of the things that I probably drastically underestimate. Is I get to have conversations almost all day. And does it happen occasionally where I'll see my phone go off in the corner? It's like, I wonder who texted me. That happens occasionally, obviously. But in this moment, I know what's next on my calendar. I know what was before this. I don't really have to worry too much about what's going. I can't do anything about it anyway. Even if somebody is texting me, I can't do anything about it right now anyway. So to your point, there's something about that. There's something about chasing flow. There's something about getting caught in the moment that it's really easy to just avoid distraction.
Right.
When you do that. Well, and on the opposite front, it's really easy to chase distraction.
Right.
It's really easy.
You did speak about books, which I lit up because I'm big on books, like the audio books. I was buying books, and going, I'm going to read that book. But then, I wasn't snuggling up by the fire in a good book. No, I wasn't doing none of that. They were collecting dust.
Yeah, of course.
So I started doing the audio books, man. And now, oh my God, I devour books, bro. Yeah. Oh, hundreds of books.
What's your favorite?
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Okay.
You mentioned the habits, Atomic Habits too, by James Clear, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Untethered Soul, by Michael Singer. Some of them are like, self-help, spiritual, financial, go get it type stuff.
Nice.
And how about yourself?
Many of those. The Compound Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Mindsets by Carol Dweck was like one of the books that helped me maybe more than any. We've been reading a lot of Jim Collins books. It's mostly business. He has The Flywheel. He has From Good to Great. A bunch of really, really powerful business books has been. I've had like phases. It was like the 7 Spiritual Laws. I went through a phase where I was like Deepak Chopra, Sadhguru, nothing else. Give me nothing else.
Right.
Then it was like sales.
Yeah, right.
Then it was relationships. Then it was business. So I have seasons. Right now I'm in a heavy business season.
Okay. Yeah. It makes me think of Seth Godin.
Yep.
Right. The marketing, the purple cow,
Yep.
Like stuff like that. Oh my God. He's the
great
guru.
author.
Oh my God.
Great
Yeah.
author.
It's like, that's what I tell people, you have to read books. When I meet somebody and be like, brother, how you doing? Yeah. What book are you reading? And you think, I haven't read a book since high school. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But then other guys will be like, yeah, I've got this one. We start sharing ideas. And I tell them the value of books is like looking through a window. You get to open the window and you get to look out and you get to see all kinds of things. And you be like, look at that. I could do that. I can go over there. I can be that, In fact, you can look at it. That's why I tell brothers, don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's a book out there for it. In fact, the book tells you how to use the wheel.
Yeah. We had a guest on one time, and I'm not going to be able to remember his name. I don't know why. It'll come to me after. But he said the power of books is if let's say you listen to a podcast episode, you're probably downloading 1 hour of somebody's consciousness. If a social media post, it's probably like maybe an hour of somebody's consciousness. When you listen to an audiobook, you're literally taking 5 to 10 years of somebody's consciousness and you're downloading that in your own in 4 hours. And it's like the best return on time investment possible.
Right.
For knowledge. Stephen Kotler. He wrote a book called The Art of Impossible. Many books. He's written many.
Yeah.
But when we were interviewing him, he was talking about that, how when you download a book, you are downloading years and years and years of somebody's experience, which is just really hard to replicate.
Stephen Kotler, when I first started talking about books, that's the one that I was going to mention, but you started talking, so here it is.
Look, there we go.
I know, the synchronicity, but stealing fire.
Yes.
You see? He was like Prometheus. What is that fire that we received from Prometheus? That's the fire inside of you. It's burning, like you creating, like artists experience that flow, right? He has the flow genome. Yep. Athletes experience it, things like that. Yeah. So that book was like, help me. Oof. I gifted it many times.
Yeah, he's done a lot of research on really cool stuff. For sure. It was when we interviewed him, it was I read several of the books before, and it was like, okay, I didn't know any of this, so this is good. This is good for me.
Yeah, he's done his homework for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of great guys. The masters are out there. That's what I tell you. Just pay attention, man. Just go get a book. And I was doing this streaming of the books, and then I noticed that they were free online of the YouTube, and I was like, wow, I could there's books there, like I could do that, I could do this, I could do many things.
I started with an app, I don't remember what it was called, but it would literally it was like, I don't know, maybe $8 a month or something. It would take a book and it would break it into like a 15-minute description, and you would get all of the points of the book in 15 minutes. And
I know of it. Yeah.
That's a really good place to start. Maybe you're thinking, I can't listen to an hour. Cool. No worries. Start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes, start with 15 minutes, whatever it is, whatever works for you. It's not right. It's gotta be sustainable. We got to start from a place of sustainability. That's where I have to start always.
It has to. So why don't you tell me about some advice you would give someone who feels stuck, like either physically or financially or spiritually?
Man, one, we probably have to figure out what our relationship with the thing that we're stuck in is. A lot of us, unfortunately, one of the reasons we get stuck with money and finances is because our relationship with money is just not a positive one. If you're villainizing money, you're most likely not going to create more of it. It doesn't really work like that. So if you're somebody who thinks money is evil, money is bad, money is the root of all evil, I can't imagine you're going to end up in a very abundant place. Is money always good? Not necessarily in the wrong hands. But let's not assume your hands are the wrong hands. So one, I think we start from a place of awareness. One of the reasons we're stuck is because the relationship we have with the thing is keeping us stuck. That's one. The second thing I would say is, we just kind of touched on this, you have to probably break getting out of the mud into much smaller pieces than you think. You didn't just get stuck. That happened over the course of weeks, months, maybe even years. You're most likely not going to get unstuck this moment. So it's probably going to be, okay, I feel like I'm stuck when it comes to fitness, hypothetically. Well, I haven't been to the gym. It's been so long. All this stuff. Cool. Tomorrow, let's just research the nearest gym. You don't have to go. You don't have to sign up for the master pass and get a personal trainer and get all the outfits and the water bottles and the matching shoes. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. We just need to move the needle a little bit. Because the only way to build momentum is to do it multiple times. But it doesn't say you have to do the same thing multiple times. So that would be the second thing. And then I would say accountability works really well for human beings. Most of us, oftentimes myself included, we're willing to do more for other people than we're willing to do for ourselves. So find someone close to you who also has a similar goal, or maybe they feel stuck in a similar way, and say, look, we're going to get out of this together. When I text you tomorrow and I say, hey, everything has gone wrong and I can't go, I need you to tell me, hey, I need you to get it together. I'll meet you there in 40 minutes. I'll do the same for you. And you are way more likely to achieve the goal. You are way more likely to get unstuck. All of that, I think, is super important. Last part. If you have the self-awareness to think you're stuck, you're probably not as stuck as you think. If you are sitting there saying, I'm stuck, you already are aware of the fact that you are. That's like the first half of the battle anyway. So you're probably in a better position than you think to do the other things that we talked about.
You know, I've looked in the past recently and look at myself where I'm at now, and I'm like, well, how did I get here, man? Like, who am I? Like, or who am I becoming, right? Which I love it, because that other guy, like, oh my God, if I see him down the street, I'll be kicking him in his ass twice on Sunday, you know, right? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I look at myself and I go, how did I get here? And, you know, I got here by, just like you said, like something in my head was saying, hey, something's wrong here, bro. Like, listen, I just wanted to mention just for a moment, like, something is wrong here, bro. You have to try to address these things. And I was always pushing past that thing, but that thing was there, you know, because I have brothers and I have, you know, cousins and all of these other family members. And I go, what separates me from them? You know, and it's just that thing, that little voice. I started listening to that one right there, where most people just, they fly right by it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, how did I get to where I am today? Whether it's positive or negative, it most likely wasn't overnight.
Right.
It most likely, one of my favorite quotes is, from day to day, progress is invisible. From year to year, progress is impossible to miss. Best example of this. I'm doing this episode with you. I think I'm recording one or two other episodes today. I did a few episodes yesterday. I am no measurably better today than I was yesterday. Omziel, I went and looked at episode 1000 last week. It's garbage. It's real garbage compared to 2000. But at the time, I thought I was the man. Same thing's going to happen next year when I come listen to this. It's going to be like, ooh, that was rough. That was rough. That's because we're growing and we're evolving and we're practicing and we got the compound effect and there's momentum and there's consistency. It's very easy to not recognize progress or lack of, because nothing happens day to day.
Right.
But I think this is why it's so important to have checkpoints. So this is my favorite piece of tactical advice ever. If you're watching this, take out your phone. Take out a notepad, take out a journal, whatever it is. Either write this out, record an audio message, or record a video. And this is all you do. You say, today is blank date, and this is how I feel when it comes to life overall, my love life, my health life, and my wealth life.
Mm.
I've been crushing the gym, or I haven't been crushing the gym. I'm as single as you can be, or I'm deeply in love, or my partner and I are having struggles. Record that and check in next month, same day. Check in month after that. I'm telling you, you're going to actually see changes where from day to day, you just can't see them. You just can't. I'm convinced we have such an advantage because we do an episode every day. I can go back and see where I was 365 days ago. Sometimes that sucks, right? Sometimes that sucks, but I want the feedback. The feedback's important.
Right. Not everybody has that video that they're doing every day, No. I mean, we're pretty big on journaling here, like because you see, because in the beginning of this episode, I mentioned about the men's retreats that we have. So we take brothers away, we help them unplug from the matrix, get away from all that garbage, and then just be in their natural setting, which is nature. That humans really belong there. We don't belong in all this plastic, metal, gasoline type of areas. But just once you unplug from those things, then we start hitting them with other things like the tracking systems, right? So here at Omziel, we're big on the calendar. Right. So don't worry about the 12 months or 13 months, don't worry about that. Don't, that's all smoke and mirrors to try to get you confused, but just use it as a tracking system. So what we do is we encourage brothers to get a desk calendar, or anyone for that matter, get a desk calendar and take off the month and then put it on your closet door, not on the inside of the door, because out of sight, out of mind, on the outside. And then we encourage them to get different color markers, because scientists know that your brains, once everything is in one color, they just fade to the background. So you need like red and oranges and blue, and then start tracking. I went running, I hit the gym, Tuesday, I slept in late on Friday, I didn't get up on, see. That way, when they look back, they could go, hey, I was kicking ass. Or man, I need to step up the game. So
that's fire. Same. We do the same thing. I track the same habit. Now, again, it might not be for everybody, but I track the same habits every day. When I do it, I get a check mark. Cool. Then it gives me a percentage. Oh, this week I did 75% of my habits. Cool. Probably going to get 75% of results. Probably not going to get 150. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, right? So, I think it's good from an awareness place. It's good from an accountability place, for sure.
Yep. And then we spoke about the Atomic Habits, right, by James Clear, and that helped me a lot too. Like I have my sneakers ready. I got my gear ready, because I noticed that if I don't have that, I'm fumbling in the dark. Like, where's my shorts and where's my, the hand straps and my water? And then I'm like, now it's like an hour and a half. I haven't left the door. So have all those things prepared the night before, and then a food prep too. We tell people that food prep is great, man. Real play is food prep, especially when you're going somewhere steadily. You should have some food. Like you said, I eat boring. I eat everything. You should do that. This is how we get things done.
It makes it easy. Now, as a bodybuilder, I used to prep like 5 pounds of chicken and a bunch of rice. I don't do it that way anymore because I work from home, so it's nice. But somebody asked me the other day, they said, how do you do your food? I do rice in the rice cooker every night. So I always have fresh rice. And then 2 times a week, I cook a bunch of ground turkey, ground chicken, ground beef, whatever. And then I have my veggies. So I do like 2 preps a week at this point. But I do think it makes it easier when you just don't care. It's like I could have ground turkey every day for the rest of my life. I wouldn't think too much about it. I enjoy it.
Right.
But yeah, I noticed something very similar where if I wake up in the morning and I'm laying in bed and I don't know what muscle group I'm working at the gym, I don't want to go. There's too much uncertainty. But if I wake up and say, oh yeah, today's shoulders, the likelihood of me going is so much higher because I have certainty. There's something about certainty and clarity when it comes to decision making.
For sure. You got to be clear. You got to be clear. You mentioned that rice, man. Some people are like, don't eat rice because that causes diabetes. I'm like, there's not a billion Chinese people with diabetes. You see, so let's try to rethink this one, because we believe everything that they tell us, so let's not do that.
Yeah, there's just too much. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist,
Right.
I'm not a dietitian,
Exactly.
so take
Exactly.
everything. You can throw everything I say
Right.
right in the trash if you want.
Right. Yeah. Or research it.
Yeah, do research. Do research.
Mhm.
I eat more carbs than most humans. I am in good shape. Carbs are not necessarily the problem. Like
Right.
there's a lot of stuff out there. But I think that's
Yeah.
another important thing is
Mm.
I think oftentimes the advice that you listen to should be in the opposite of what you already believe to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I think, well, the reason I'm struggling in fitness is because of I'm eating too much rice, it's like, well, no, maybe it's because I like ice cream more than any person on the planet should. Like, that is me. I'm talking to me. I'm not talking to you out there. I'm talking to me on that.
Right.
I think it's very easy for somebody to say something that we already believe and say, yeah, I knew that. I knew that's what it was. When in reality, it might not be that. And we fall down confirmation bias and all these other things. So yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Okay. So man, we've cleared so much out, and I appreciate you so much, brother. So now you're on the Next Level University, correct?
Yes.
This is something that you guys have put together. So maybe you could start with about fit in the stress management, and what does that play in building and protecting this wealth that we're building, within that frame of the Next Level University.
I think one of the most important things when it comes to stress is figuring out your goals and my goals are different. And if you convince yourself that you want to live your life in the same way I do, you are going to be more stressed than I am, because this might be more aligned for me than it is for you. So when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to life in general, we have to figure out what is most valuable to us. That's one. I think understanding what fulfillment really means to you. Oftentimes, the thing that's most fulfilling seems like it's the thing that sucks the most in the moment. What is most likely going to create a better experience when it comes to stress? My wife and I going on a beautiful walk in nature on Sunday, or watching Netflix all day. The first one is going to help more with stress, but it also sucks more in the moment. But here, this is the question. Which one will I be more fulfilled after I do? It's going to be the hike, the hike or the walk. I'm not a big hiker, but I'm happy to go for a walk every once in a while. I think that's really important. And then other than that, maybe one of the best things ever is setting boundaries. I think stress is going to happen. If you have a stressful job that's forcing you to work 50 hours a week, honestly, I don't know how to add value. I don't know what to say. I genuinely don't know. But what I can say is, if you don't want to go to that freaking birthday party on Sunday, don't do it. Just set the boundary and say, look, Omziel, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate the fact that there's 25 people coming and you invited me. I mean, that really means the world to me. But honestly, if I can be truthful with you for a second, I am so stressed out at work. I'm overwhelmed and I'm really struggling to fill my cup. I think it would be more productive for me just to stay home. But please know that is nothing against you. That's just me really trying to pour into my own cup. Setting boundaries and maintaining boundaries is a skill that if you really master, I think it will help tremendously when it comes to stress. But outside of that, I think life is stressful. So you got to make sure you're practicing those small micro habits and breath work and meditation and putting yourself first and pouring into your body, learning, all that stuff. I don't know if I have a great answer when it comes to stress, because I'm as stressed as anybody. It's just it's positive stress at this point, I guess.
Yeah. It's gonna happen. Like, you could be homeless and be stressful, and then there's billionaires that they go to the roof and they jump off. You're like, what? How? You got everything, bro. Yeah, you see. So you don't know, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Next Level University? What is it that you're offering, and how does that work with people, man? Because now I want to get in, man. How do I get in?
So Next Level University is everything. So we have a podcast called Next Level University. That is a podcast episode every day, always for free from anywhere on the planet. Like, that is our mission with the podcast. We have a Facebook group. We do free monthly meetups. We have a free book club. And then eventually, if you're somebody who says, well, I'd like to invest some money into my growth, we have group coaching, we have one-on-one coaching, we have live events. So it's the goal behind it is no matter where you are financially or where you are in your own personal development, there is a spot for you somewhere within our business. You don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can literally come to book club every Saturday for free. Like that's the mission, is to help somebody who's just hungry for growth end up in the right part of the business so they can grow, and we can grow together.
I see that it's more like a community where people are just coming and then they're just helping one another, as opposed to some of these guys out there. You could just see that they're trying to sell you some snake oil. I mean me anyway.
No, that is common. That this is how you know it works. It's very unsexy. We are very unsexy. I can't teach you how to work 4 hours and be a billionaire. I can't teach you how to do it. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't figured it out.
That was another good book too, about the 4 week, right?
The 4 hour. I never
4
read it.
work week. Yeah.
I never read it.
When you see, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it was just the title of it. Because when you look at it, you'd be like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's how they get you. That's as long as it's a positive, like, come listen to this. It's going to be way easier than you think. Surprise! It's harder than you think. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that as long as it goes that way.
Exactly.
But I think it's up to us to pour into our own self-improvement, our own personal development, and I know oftentimes money gets in the way of that. So we want to make sure we have free options for everybody.
That's great. And I know you have another meeting to go to, man. And I appreciate your time. So why don't you tell us where people can find you and things like that.
If you want to creep on me like Omziel did before, my Instagram handle is @NeverQuitKid. You will see bodybuilding pictures. You'll see pictures of my wife and I, cats, the whole thing. Obviously the podcast, and then the website's nextleveluniverse.com. And if you need anything, you have questions, comments, concerns, my email is kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. Happy to answer anything I can do to add value.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. And we're looking forward to speaking to you again very soon. And we want to know more about, the spiritual side of it too, man, because I know we didn't touch on that. And I know that there was a shift that went on, in your evolution, man, in that area. So
we'll do that on episode 2.
That's great. That sounds great. And I'll be telling all of the men on the men's retreat that we're having that's coming up. And I like to tell people that if you're a man or someone that like to be on the retreat that's coming up on May 23rd to the 25th, just say code word Next Level University and we'll help you out with 10% off that ticket.
Boom. Look at that. Great. People helping people.
That's right. We're on it, brother. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you back, brother. All the love.
Thank you, everybody. Until the next